So Jeff said, well, that's the situation, unfortunately. So Van Dyke Parks goes, oh, hang on a second. He goes over to the phone on the table. Hello, Marilyn, because Brian was his wife, Marilyn. Hey, Marilyn, it's Van Dyke. Yeah, is Brian there? Yeah, hold on. Hey, Brian, I'm in the Beverly Rodeo Hotel with a couple of guys from the BBC. They'd love to come over and see you. Would that be okay? Yeah, no, I remember what he said. He said, Brian, they've travelled 6,000 miles to see you. So, okay, fine. He said, well, if you go over to Bel Air at 8 o'clock this evening, just check in at the gate, because it's a gated community. They'll let you through, and Brian will be waiting to see you. I mean, Jeff would go, what? This is, so we did, and we didn't expect. We thought we'll get over there, there'll be a person on the gate will say, I have no idea what you're talking about, and that would be it. No, the person on the gate led us through. We arrived at Brian's house, big sort of church-like arched door. We knocked on the door, and Marilyn answered the door. We wanted to do an interview with Marilyn anyway, so whatever happens now, this is a massive bonus. And we walked down into this almost empty room. I remember it had really shiny, polished wood floor. There was a white Imagine piano over there where Dave's standing. An L-shaped sofa with a coffee table. Basically that was it. Big room, but more or less empty other than that. So he set up, and this is an important, small but crucial detail. And I don't know why he did this, but whenever Jeff set a recording, a Ewer, we used to use a Ewer if you're familiar with those lovely old machines. So it's a stereo Ewer, you've got stereo microphone, and Jeff always used to set them like that, not like that. I don't know why he did, but he did. That was his signature. So we sit down with Marilyn and we start chatting away, and we can hear these weird sort of wailing noises coming from somewhere deep in the bowels of the house while we're talking to Marilyn. And we've been recording an interview with her now for about maybe, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes or something. The noises stop, and then two or 3 minutes later, Brian appears in the doorway. So the doorway is there, and there's a couple of steps down into this room, and there's Brian in the doorway. Dishevelled does not begin to describe how he looked. And he was very awkward, didn't really know what to do with himself. But the way I sort of thought he was like a sort of awkward teenager, not quite knowing what to do with his hands, and didn't really quite know what to do with himself. Because Jeff and I, we go, like this Brian was. And Marilyn says, oh, hi Brian, come on in. Guys from the BBC, they come over to see you. And so Brian sort of tentatively steps down into the room, and he just does not know what to do with himself. And then he spots the microphones. And he goes like this, I mean literally, and he starts circling the microphones and looking at them like this, and then looking back at us, and then looking at them, and then looking at them again like this, and finally, he looks at Jeff and he goes, what is this? Is that a submarine? I mean, that's exactly what he said. It's not even a punchline. So Jeff said, no, and it's the microphones we're recording it. So he said, let me play you a song. And I kicked Jeff into the table. Make sure the bloody things work. So he goes over to this all sounds so improbable, but it's actually true. He goes over to the piano and lifts the lid, and Jeff and I are thinking, oh my God, he's about to play God only knows what, Wild Honey or something, And he goes like this, and he goes, Marilyn, what's happening to the piano? And I'm leaning up like this, and I realise that the piano has no keys in it. It's like a mouth with no teeth, it's just empty black. And Marilyn looks at him, And she said, "Oh, Brian, don't you remember? You know, we're getting the piano fixed, they're getting new keys," and Jeff and I look at one another and go, so then he sits there for a moment, thinks, gets up, wanders back out of the room, and then a few minutes later we start hearing all these weird sort of percussion noises coming through. That was my first meeting with Brian Wilson.